Welcome back to the Manifestation and Money podcast. Today we have a first time on the show. We are doing back-to-back guests. So if you checked out last week and listened to Joel, he's back again this week because he is just the man who knows not only how to make money, but also attract money. So last time we went a little bit more down I had so many questions on the making money part, and this time we're taking down the rabbit hole of attracting money. So, welcome back to the Manifestation and Money podcast, Joel.
Thank you so much, Jen, for having me. It's a great honor and pleasure again to be here.
Definitely. So, I would love for you just to share with the listeners again who you are, just in case they missed that last episode.
I have a long history in the financial services industry. I started my career as an actuary. FSA stands for Fellow of the Society of Actuaries. I'm also a chartered financial analyst. Went through all those exams and really didn't like my day job, but I had a dream. And that dream was to be a professional money manager because my evenings and weekends when I was working at an insurance company coding was spent analyzing and investing in stocks. It took me a while. It took me 15 years to achieve the dream. And hopefully today, my long road can lead to your shortcut. I became a professional hedge fund manager in 2008, trial by fire. I know you're quite young, so you don't remember what happened in 2008, but the stock market was down 40% that year. And financial stocks, the only ones I was invested in, were down 57%. And I did manage to make a few percent for the bank's shareholders that year. Next year was better. And then there was a law passed a couple of years after that that said banks can't own hedge funds, which actually gave me the kick in the butt to start my own fund. So I started my own hedge fund, launched in June of 2013. And I thought, I'm good. I have my dream. I'm tap dancing to work. And I went to a personal development course about 3 years later. And there was a guy standing on stage telling me and the other 199 other people in the audience that there's only one way to get rich, and that's stock options. And I was sick to my stomach. I had people tapping me on the shoulder, whispering, Maria or Joel, does this make sense? Because he had said, hey, stock options are the only way to get rich. You don't need much time. You don't need much money. This is how the rich people get rich, and options are essentially risk-free. And so I was polite. After he was done, we went out of the auditorium. I told him, please don't do this. He has no idea about any of you individually. And most importantly, no idea about your belief that you could become rich using options. I went home that night, couldn't sleep. I think it was like 4 a.m. I jumped out of bed and I quickly got dressed because I realized if I could ever get up the courage to speak on a stage, I could teach people the truth about money, not lie to them and be of service. So I got to my office in Midtown Manhattan before the sun rose, and I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them their money back. I'm shutting down my funds. I figured out my true purpose on earth.
That's excellent. And from that point, do you feel like when you weave into manifesting in your daily practice now, was that evident to you back then?
Well, good question. I was already a avid reader of Think and Grow Rich by that time. I probably started reading that book in 2008 or 2009. And so, yeah, in 2015, 16, I'd read it, probably 14. I read it twice a year. So I probably read it 14 times by then. I'd read The Secret and other manifestation and belief books. So I'm an avid reader. I read a book a week. So yeah, it was already there. And I got certified to be an infinite possibilities trainer the next year after I shut down my fund. And Mike Dooley, who wrote Infinite Possibilities, teaches about belief and thoughts becoming things and how you take action and faith in the magical universe. Those are some of the chapters in his book. And so that really coalesced everything that I had learned in other books and put it all together.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Because I think we hear about money, or at least when we learn about money, the example that you shared, somebody's telling us what to do with their money. It's a very almost cold, calculated, like, here's what to do, cold hard cash is kind of the saying that goes along with money, right? So to be able to shift people into more an energetic space of money, of that your beliefs are aligned behind your money by making the choice that you are going to make a big career pivot and believing in yourself in that moment, that was probably a big shift for you then to go on and even make more money on your new path.
Well, what I tell my clients now is having a strong why is essential,
Mm.
right? And so my why was to tell people the truth about money when I heard a guy lying to 200 people. And so that's my why, to teach people the truth about money. That, and I didn't finish the story, which is that there's almost an infinite number of ways to become rich, right? It could be stock options, but probably 3 out of the 200 people are going to get rich in stock options in that room, right? It could be stocks, it could be real estate, it could be crypto, it could be vending machines, it could be your business. But if you're an entrepreneur who's watching this, it's more likely to be your business than any of those other things. And so almost infinite, right? Yeah, it could be winning the lottery, but I talk about why that is unlikely to be the route. Personally, firstly, because of the probabilities, it's like 1 in 30 million, but also because of belief.
Yeah. And you saying that just makes me chuckle because half the people that you talk to that say, "Oh, I'm just like banking on winning the lottery," aren't actually buying a ticket.
Right.
So the probability is just sliced in half right there.
It's pretty much asymptotically zero. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're not taking the action towards what you want, you're probably
Right.
not going to get it.
Yeah, taking action is a important chapter in Mike Dooley's Infinite Possibilities that we teach. And yeah, there's some people who have read The Secret and maybe some other law of attraction books and have this belief that they can just sit at home in the field position, visualizing and meditating on their bed, and a check's going to come in the mail for millions of dollars. Mm. And I will say that you need to get out there into the universe. Taking action breeds clarity, and mood follows action. And if you're not taking any action, mood is important. It's feeling first, manifestation second, by the way. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you're feeling terrible, fearful, angry, worried, I don't know if you read Power versus Force by David Hawkins.
No.
Great book about the vibrational frequency of different emotions. And if you're down here in the lowest vibration of depression and sadness, then you're far away from love and joy and gratitude and appreciation, which are the highest vibrations, which is where abundance and prosperity is.
Yeah. So how do you think somebody who's in a really low vibrational state can get themselves out? Because it's hard to even get dressed if you're down in that super low space.
If you're depressed, get angry. If you're angry, get overwhelmed. If you're overwhelmed, get hopeful. Just take a baby step up the emotional guidance scale, right? You don't have to take a leap, but just get what, if you're depressed, get angry. If you're really angry, get overwhelmed. Just take a tiny step, mm-hmm. and you'll feel a little bit better. But yeah, you can't get here from here. And I don't say, it's really tough to go from like depressed fetal position in bed to ecstatic, passionate, and extreme appreciation. It's just not happening. And so I recognize that. And so we have techniques that I teach to move slightly up the emotional guidance scale so you feel a little bit better. There's audio files I teach, affirmations I teach, which in Think and Grow Rich, they call it auto-suggestion. It's the same thing, right? And so how do you shift those feelings of lack and scarcity and worry and fear? Here's a great technique I talk about in my TEDx talk. It's actually from Andy Dooley, Mike's brother, who's a mindset breakthrough coach. He says to use stop, cancel, clear, get the fear out of here. Stop, cancel, clear, get the fear out of here. And you can use the other F word. I'm not going to judge.
These are great, very strong examples. Like obviously you're saying going from depression all the way up to this high vibrational state, but I think that really paints the picture. You are telling the person to literally just shift their energy, shift your vibration into a different frequency. So you have a different feeling in your body, which might feel uncomfortable to you at first if you're used to sitting in this other space, but slowly baby step yourself towards what you want, which essentially is what manifestation is. How do you get yourself
Yeah.
from where you are to what you want?
And taking action breeds clarity, right? So take some sucky paths. Just take some action, right? Even if they're sucky, right? And do multiple ones and see what gets some traction, right? Mood will follow the action. So you're taking some action, you feel, oh, okay, I've done something, right? I stepped outside today, right? I breathed some fresh air. I got some sun, got some vitamin D in, right? Something, take some small little baby step, and then you'll get some clarity. And if
Yeah.
you're doing 5 different paths, you'll say, okay, well, this is not, maybe 4 of them have no momentum, right?
Hmm.
Maybe you write a book, you get up on stage, you start coaching, you start doing podcasts, and maybe it's the podcast you start, like people start reaching out to you from a podcast. Okay, well, I'll do more podcasts. Or you write the book and people start reaching out to you. Can I talk to you about that book? Can I get some coaching from that book? Whatever it is, figure out, see what gets some momentum and then push in that direction.
That's a really valid point because I started out a few years ago. I'm like, oh, I want to write a book. I love manifestation. I love money. I love talking about the two concepts. And then the podcast was an afterthought. I started looking into the details of the book and started talking to people about it. And I'm like, ooh, no, I actually like the talking about it to people. So that's where the podcast was born. And the book idea is on a back shelf. It doesn't have the same pull to me now because now I'm getting what I want doing something different. So let's tip the conversation over to manifesting money because I know you have a group, you work with people, it's playful, and you guys have manifested millions of dollars collectively. So, what are some fun things you can share about that group?
Yeah. So the Money Miracles Mastermind Group has now manifested over 2,555,000 US dollars. So it's about $85,000 per person. If you told me when we started 4 years ago that people would manifest millions, I would have said you're high, but here we are. I did call it Money Miracles for a reason. I was hopeful and so grateful. What we have in the mastermind group is basically a dozen different manifestation techniques. And what I tell people is don't do all of them. Don't do all of them because where focus goes, energy flows. And if you're like 12 different things working on, there's no focus. There's no energy that's focused and it's dispersed. I teach non-diversification. We talked about the last show, right? Rule number 9 is don't diversify. So focus, find one that really resonates with you. I'll share a few simple ones. One is called the $100 bill. And you get a $100 bill and you put in your wallet. And every time you open up your pocketbook or wallet and use a credit card or whatever, and you're spending some money, look at the $100 bill and think about what you would spend it on, but don't spend it.
Oh,
And every time you take out your pocketbook or your wallet, you might do it 5 or 10 times a day. You're spending some quote unquote money that is available to you, but you're not spending it. So you're creating more abundance in your head and abundance, like you're focused on more abundance throughout the day. And it just shifts the vibration again towards abundance, to prosperity. Like, oh, I have this $100 bill. I could spend it, but I'm not. Let me get a mani-pedi. Let me get a massage. Let me buy this nice blouse. Let me whatever, right? And just think about it for at least 30 seconds. Like, what am I going to do with this $100 this time?
that's fun. That's a playful space to allow your head to go.
Yeah, right. Another one is called the check game. If people want the check, reach out to me. I'll send it to them. It's a check from the Gratitude Bank of the Universe. And what you're going to do is you're going to write a check out to yourself from an infinite bank account. And you'll start with $1,000. And on the back of the check, you'll write down the things you spent it on. You have to spend all $1,000. Now, you could give 10% away, that's fine. But people have asked me, can I give the whole 100% away? No. The whole point of this is similar to the first $100 bill one, right? You want to spend some time thinking about abundance, thinking about prosperity. And that's day 1, 1,000. Day 2, you're going to double it, 2,000. Day 3, double it, 4,000. Day 4, double it, 8,000. Okay. Do it for 20 days. I think you're up to 12 million. Okay. And so stop at, you don't spend all day doing this, but I would say once you get up to the millions, go find that house on the island of Maldives and check it out and see which one you want. It's probably only 3 million. I've done it. So US dollars. So it's not that bad, but buy the NetJets share. So write down all the things. And there have been people who have done the research, spent the time, and things have manifested for them. Then I had a woman, was a client of mine who played the game, and she said when she got to, I forget, I think it was 64,000. She got to 64,000. And I said, tell me what you did with that one. And she said, I took me and my husband and my sister-in-law's family, the sister-in-law, husband, and 2 kids to Disney World for a week. And I said, I've been to Disney World. It doesn't cost 64,000 for 5 people to go to Disney World. You might want to research that a little bit. I think it might be like, even if you get the suite, it might be like 3,000 a day. It's not 9 or 10,000 a day. She didn't do the research, right? She wrote the check and this is it. And she probably spent a minute on it or less, right? And so do the research because it's fun and it's interesting and you're spending more time thinking about abundance.
I'm hearing in that too, you're taking action. By doing the research, you're taking an action piece. So you're training your brain that you're taking action towards what you want.
You're acting as if, I call it.
Yeah.
So you're acting as if what you want to happen has already happened. You're doing the research, right? You're going to research the house on the island of Maldives and find which island you want to buy the house on and, what the square footage is and the price. And you could do even more. You could check out financing. Like you could go through all the full steps of doing a residential property purchase, right? And so that's acting as if it's about to happen. You're spending the time doing it. And when you act as if, crazy, awesome things happen.
Because when you're acting as if and you're taking those steps, you might come across an amazing deal on something and you're like, oh, it only actually costs this much to do the thing I want. I'm going to book it right now, right? So you're putting your own life into that momentum.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've done the check one before just in terms of things that I want, writing the checks for and tucking them away in my drawer. And I found one year and it was for another rental property. And I was like, oh, that actually played out. Like they always do, but I'd kind of forgotten about it because I'd shuffled my office around. And it didn't come to fruition until a year after. But I was like, hey, it totally played out. I got exactly what I asked for on here. So I do like that the way I played the game was differently. And I call it a game because it's play, it's fun. And I'm like, what is the harm in writing out these checks if real things are going to play out in our lives, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So another simple one, which some people I'm sure who are watching have done, is called the gratitude journal. And so you just write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for in the morning. You could just do it in the morning. I do it morning and night. 3 to 5 things you're grateful for and why. And you don't do it like a robot. You want to get into the feeling. Right? And by the way, all these techniques, it's feeling first, manifestation second. Right? So when you're saying, I am grateful for Lauren and Morgan, my daughter's names are Lauren and Morgan. It's my company name is named after them. It's L-E-U-R for Lauren, M-O-R for Morgan. So when I say I'm grateful for Lauren and Morgan, I'm grateful for them because they've taught me unconditional love. Right. And so like really getting into the feeling and seeing them and seeing their birth, just spending 20 seconds doing that and then writing the next thing down, as opposed to just, I'm grateful for Lauren and Morgan. Let's write the next thing down because that's not doing anything. Right. And gratitude is the high, like we've already talked about this. It's the highest. Gratitude and appreciation is the highest vibration. Writing the gratitude journal can shift things significantly. I literally had a woman just join my Money Miracles Mastermind the end of November. 1 month manifested $10,000. And she was just using gratitude. Wow. She was just appreciating everything like throughout the day, not just like morning and night, but just recognizing things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do this all the time. Like I may trip and not fall, and I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right.
Yeah.
Just like little things like, oh, I don't know, going outside, I'm jogging, right? And it happens to start snowing. I jog pretty much every day. It happens like 3 times a year, maybe twice, that I can stick out my tongue and get a snowflake on my tongue. And I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right. Just so grateful. And just looking at the snowflakes, like how awesome is that? How often are you like seeing the infiniteness of a snowflake? Right. And being in the gratitude and appreciation. By the way, Tina, who manifested the $10,000, she had barely made any money in the previous months.
Oh, wow.
So it was huge for her. Huge, huge, huge. 3 new clients in the first 30 days, and they were like out of the blue. She actually says in her video testimony, it wasn't about efforting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was about just doing the techniques and allowing and knowing. And she's been in business a while, so it's not like just started a new business and $10,000 came in. It was, I've been in business a while, but nothing's working. Mm-hmm. I joined the mastermind group and the floodgates open.
I love that you're connecting the why behind the gratitude. If that's the big thing she used and the why, because you touched on something important, that the gratitude lists are great, but if you're just churning it out like it's a task, you're basically just making a shopping list, right? In a non like emotional way. So by adding the why in there, you're attaching the emotion in. So thank you for sharing that. That's something that I hadn't really connected before. I'm like, oh, adding the why into that, that's important.
Professor Seligman at the University of Virginia. I quote him in my book, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use. And this is, by the way, this is rule number 5 of the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, gratitude. And I quote him because he did a study. He had his students, they connected electrodes to the synapses of the brain at the beginning of the 30 days, and then connected them again at the end of the 30 days. They would write down 3 things they're grateful for and why each day. So beginning, electrodes, and to the synapses. And they found that the synapses in the areas of happiness had expanded just in 30 days. Wow. So if you're writing about gratitude, you're getting happier. And happiness and joy is the highest vibration along with gratitude, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why rule number 3 is, can happiness buy me money, in my book? Not can money buy me happiness, can happiness buy me money? Because if you're vibrating up there in happiness, you're grateful and happy, then you're in the vibration of abundance and prosperity.
I like that flip on the words there. Before I let you go, I just want to give you the floor to share any last insights that you want on either manifestation or money.
I want to give an offer to anyone who's watching to help them manifest at least $10,000. I'll give a individualized roadmap to an extra $10,000 in the next 30 to 60 days. Jump on a call with me. It's individualized based on where you are. And we'll do that. Let's do that for the first 7 people to jump on a call. I'll put the calendar link. It works. TSW, this stuff works. So know that you got to believe it, right? Belief is everything. If you get on the call, only if you believe this is possible for you.
That's right. That's right. That's a very powerful tool that Joel is sharing with you. So I'll make sure to link your calendar link in the show notes for everybody. And thank you again for joining me on this follow-up conversation, Joel.
Thank you for having me, Jen.